Don't kid yourself. Oregon's the number one team for a reason. They are the best team in college football, and specifically what they are and how I describe them after watching tape is that they play their system better than any other team plays their system. Dan Lanning, coach of Oregon, this dude is the best coach in college football. In today's video, I'm going to break down Oregon versus Ohio State, and why this is an interesting matchup is because Ohio State has more talent. But Oregon, in my opinion, is a better football team. They play more consistent, better together, which is the sport of football, okay? I'm going to break down Oregon's offense. I'm going to give essentially two looks. This is the first look. Obviously, you see no running backs, and then I'm going to break down their main base package, but they essentially have two different offensive looks, and then I'm going to break down Ohio State and kind of get into it, okay? The number one thing, though, I always want to start with the quarterbacks because the quarterback position is the most important position in all of sports. Dillon Gabriel, quarterback, Oregon. He is the best player in college football. Yes, you heard that correctly. I know he didn't win the Heisman, but trust me, he is the best player in college football. He does all things well. He's got great vision, he's got great footwork, he's got great delivery in every single level of the pass game, okay? He can throw on a rope, he can throw it great in the air. His elusiveness is ridiculously impressive in the pocket, and if you don't have somebody in front of him, he will eat you alive, and yes, he can literally take it for 60 yards too. He is a complete package. All right, nobody's really talking about him. I don't know why they're not talking about him. His film is freaking phenomenal. Okay, he's just one of those guys who's incredible and fits the college football so well. You know, like Troy Smith for you Ohio State fans, Vince Young. There's certain guys that like probably wouldn't work out in the pros, but damn, they are so good at college football. He's one of those guys. All right, then Ohio State, Will Howard. I've had a love-hate relationship with Will Howard. I'm an Ohio State fan. He's got to come out and play like he did against Tennessee, and Ryan Day's got to let that happen. He's got to attack, and then he's got to attack some more. Get that ball in the air and throw it with some freaking spin and some velocity with purpose. If he can do that, great. And the bonus thing is, I'm going to say he has to do that. Not even great. He has to do that. And then the bonus is, can he finally use his legs? Can we see what Will Howard can do with his legs? I think Ohio State is going to need it, okay? I need to pause here and say, please consider subscribing, just getting going here. We've got a lot of different college football content. Please subscribe and comment. Man, we get a lot of great comments. I get some freaking mean comments every once in a while. But man, if you are a college football fan and you have a perspective on this game, comment below. Okay, other things I've recently added, I've had a link if you want to buy my merch. I have Beers by the Ivy merch, and I also have a link that you can donate if you really love the comment. And that would be unbelievable that someone who would even do that. But yes, I have it as an offer now. But once again, subscribe, comment. Those are free, easy to do. Merch, donate. All right, let's jump into it. This is Oregon's offense. All right, they essentially have two different looks, I would call it. And the first is just, you know, the classic like Madden 5 receivers, okay? And this is where Dillon Gabriel is really freaking good because he has all the space to work in the pocket, and they run every single route combination you could ever imagine. One thing to know about all of Oregon's receivers is they are all really good and they are all really capable. Number 15, spaced on his name, someone comment. He is a freaking dog. This dude can compete, but across the board, their receivers don't drop the balls. Like their mindset as a receiving core is really, really impressive, and they play really good. One thing about these receivers too is they block really well. And as a football guy, I love downfield blocking for the receivers. But yeah, I just want to show this quickly just to say that like you will see this, and this is a lot of trust in your quarterback to essentially play the pass game like this. And Oregon does it, and they're one of the only teams in the country that does. All right, let's jump into the next formation. So this is Oregon's base. As you see here, quarterback, running back, tight end, or fullback. They have this tight end can be in various places. Sometimes he's up over here, kind of above the guard. Sometimes he's on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. But normally this tight end is somewhat attached to the O-line. And then they have three other receivers on the board. They do a few different things. I'm going to talk about the run game, then I'm going to move into the pass game. From a run game standpoint, they do, the normal kind of like, power where they all kind of slam over and then they essentially run here. That's a typical run play. But they also have read option, okay? This is read option is where the quarterback is reading the defensive end and he decides to give the ball or pull the ball. This is something that you're going to see multiple times. Gabriel broke a long run against Ohio State and various other teams doing this. He's extremely good. He's very disciplined. It's a hard thing to do as a quarterback because you're making a very calculated decision. Gabriel, once again, is very good at it, and you'll see him essentially pull up. And the best thing about Oregon's run game is they do get to the outside a decent amount. And once again, like I just said, their receivers can block downfield, and that adds extra yardage to their run game. Okay, not a lot of people talk about the run game, but they are a very disciplined run game. Dan Lanning, really, really good coach. Okay, in terms of the pass game, they throw the ball at all levels, right? We have level 1, which is like the line of scrimmage, 2, linebackers, 3, which would be safeties. They throw the ball at all levels. They really love to attack downfield, and you'll see that a bunch. They are not scared to, that gambling personality to attack downfield. And they also, the other area they love is they don't necessarily attack like the middle of the field very much. It seems like what I've seen, but they love to attack like these ends, these wheel routes where like somebody kind of trails off from the backfield and kind of gets into the flat and starts running north. They are really elusive at those wheel routes. So once again, on Jan 1, be on the lookout for that. It's been a big play from them, and they've hit it multiple times against multiple teams. But yeah, that is essentially Oregon's offense. Their quarterback is their mainstay. And from there, they just have really good fundamental football players, and they don't make mistakes. And that's literally my praise. They are just very, very, very solid. Ohio State's defense, basic 4-3, right? They got some dogs, especially downs, a safety. They're going to need to play their A game. These defensive linemen are going to need to be ferocious in their attack. Gabriel can literally move in the pocket and not get touched when he has 3 or 4 guys around him. If he's not on the ground, these defensive linemen cannot quit on the play. They're going to have to beat Oregon's offensive linemen straight up without blitzes because these receivers can take it to house. They get the ball, they can literally take it 50 yards is what I'm trying to say. So it's so important to let the defense not have to put so much pressure. We're investing in getting the quarterback. They just need our Ohio State's defensive linemen to get to the quarterback. That is the Ohio State key, okay? Let's now jump into Ohio State's offense. Ohio State's offense, this is their base look, quarterback, running back, some type of tight end, H-back, once again, just like Oregon. 3 receivers on the football field. That's usually what you see down and down again for Ohio State. One thing that we've learned about Ohio State is that they cannot run zone run game, which has kind of been an Ohio State staple since the Urban Meyer era, essentially running what's called stretch, which means that we're going to essentially have everyone on a sprint to try to cover space over here instead of just running completely north and south. Okay, we've learned through the Michigan game that's not possible. The one thing I want to say about this offensive line is, especially losing the center and then the left tackle and having so many variations of people moving in and out. I would say against Tennessee was the first time I felt like that offensive line, like something clicked for them. And I think that's a huge bright side if you're an Ohio State fan, is that this offensive line is, I think, kind of under themselves now and finally starting to play like Buckeye O-line football that, us Ohio State fans are accustomed to. So I think that's a huge thing. Against Oregon, you're not going to be able to run stretch. Why? Because their guys are super athletic. So we need to, once again, run power or just straight north and south. Right? You can block just the guys in front of you. Football does not need to be like fancy, right? You don't need to run all this fancy formation. Just, hey, north and south football, that worked against Oregon the first game. All right. The other thing Ohio State has been really capable of and done a really good job of in the run game is power run game, right? Power meaning that we're pulling somebody over to essentially help block. And Ohio State runs the most complex power I've ever seen in football, essentially where the hole is like right here, and they are leaving the defender who's currently in the hole, and they are literally bringing a guy from the opposite side of the line of scrimmage to block him, as the guy who's in front of the guy who's in the hole, meaning this guy, is blocking down, helping the center and working up to that linebacker. So Ohio State guys they're smart, they have good footwork, and Ryan Day and Chip Kelly need to just buckle down and run the football north via just straight up normal run or power. If they do that, they will be able to run the ball against Oregon. I think Oregon's like 35th right now in the country of the run game, so not bad, not great. So I think that's a huge key. All right, the second biggest key for Ohio State's offense is finally attack. I mean, holy cow, you're watching that Tennessee game, you're like, finally. You freaking, Smith, Ibuka, like attack. Find the weak matchup that you want, and just attack it every single time. And don't wait for the fourth quarter to start attacking. Just attack. As we keep saying, week after week after week, Ohio State, it loves to run like a bunch of crossers, and I like the crossers, right? They mainly attack the middle of the zone. That's great, but I really think the number one zone that they should attack against Oregon is number 3. I don't want to see a bunch of freaking dumbass screen passes, because guess what? Oregon's defense, not good in the run game, but what do they have? Really freaking good sideline speed. This defense is super fast. So if you're going to try to run, stuff out in the flats like Ohio State did the first time against Oregon, you're going to get your clock cleaned. Right? What's your advantage, Ohio State? Your receivers on the outside are incredible route runners, and they're incredible with the ball in the air, okay? Use it to your advantage. Will Howard, throw the freaking rock, all right? And then lastly, I think it's kind of the quiet, the calm before the storm is, can Will Howard somehow get in the run game? If he can get in the run game, that would be absolutely ideal for Ohio State. He's got to somehow get yards, either whether it's scrambling or they run QB power, or there's got to be something, option read. For Ohio State to win this game, I think Will Howard's got to be a factor, because he really wasn't that last game, and he really hasn't been that all season. And I think that can be a little trump card for Ohio State. All right? That's the breakdown. Once again, please consider subscribing. In terms of a game pick, man, I don't know. To be honest with you guys, I'm still trying to process this game. Comment below and tell me who you think's going to win. But it's hard to bet against Oregon, because they are such a fundamentally sound team, and they play together in their system so damn well. And Ohio State, they can literally look like a Super Bowl champion or like the worst team in the Big Ten. Their D-line can either literally not be out there or look like superhumans. So what team is going to show up for Ohio State is the big question, and that's why it's so hard. I can tell you right now, though, after watching Oregon so much, these guys show up every single damn week. And don't forget, they had to play the most conference games in a row than any other team in like the Power 5. They're battle tested. They played Boise State, Ohio State. They just beat on Penn State. This Oregon team's no joke, so I'm kind of leaning that way, but I'm a Ohio State fan, so like my heart's kind of pulling me over. So yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for checking out the video. Please consider subscribing. Once again, I love it. And yeah, we'll keep it going here. We'll have a lot more videos coming on college football. Appreciate your time. And yeah, thanks.